Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. Bit different today. I have a few different projects on, and it's all focused in around the Blueshift Cardano index. Guys, you're all very welcome. We will go around the table to get an introduction to who everyone is. So as we start out with Igor, you are from Blueshift, but I'll let you introduce yourself, and then we'll move around to everyone else that's here.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. It's Igor and Pete here, based out of Amsterdam. I'm the founder of Blueshift, and I'm happy to be here.
Great. Next up, we have Phil there.
Yeah, Phil, thank you for having me. To introduce myself, I am Phil from NMKR. I'm the support guy there, and today I will replace our CEO, Patrick, who's not going to make it. Even though I could never really replace Patrick, I still hope to give some satisfying answers.
Sounds good. Yeah. People here are going to be familiar with Patrick. He's been on the channel, I think, twice before, maybe 3 times at this point. Stephen?
Patrick's a force. Hello, I'm Stephen. I'm the CEO of VyFi. We also are on the Cardano index, of course, on Blueshift. And, thank you so much for having us on, Paul.
Yeah, no worries. You're welcome back. Another person who's been here before and probably on again fairly soon. And Pete, you were on a few hours ago on the live stream, but
yeah, I'm Peter. I run the Learn Cardano podcast, but I've also been working for Blueshift for the last maybe 7 months now. It's getting on a bit, so I think over 7 months. But I help with all the social media, content writing, and community building in general. So been an absolute pleasure playing around and learning more from the team at Blueshift and being on this episode too.
Nice one. So jumping into it then, what is Blueshift first, and then we'll get into the Cardano index, because the Cardano index is a part of Blueshift right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to take this one. So Blueshift is a portfolio-based cross-chain DEX, which was originally deployed on Cardano Milkomida, but now is also deployed on other nets such as Kava and Algorand.
Okay, and then the Cardano index, where does that fit in, or what is it?
Yeah. So one of the main features of our portfolio-based approach is an ability to create, indices, if you can put it this way. And in case of Cardano index, it's basically the list. It's a portfolio of best Cardano projects. And it was a campaign organized together with the Cardano community overall, generated quite some engagements. In terms of stats, I think we saw over 500K impressions, over 1,000 comments from the community. All of them were voting for their favorite projects, and eventually those projects were put in the portfolio. So we've done, of course, the validation. We spoke to individuals behind those projects, and we said, well, the first 4 should include the VyFi and Finance, NMKR, and cornucopias.
Okay, so it was the community then that voted in the projects at the start, was it?
Yeah, certainly. So it was from the very beginning our idea, our mission to make it a community-built type of initiative. So this index becomes something that community sees as the key projects in the ecosystem of Cardano. And right now, I think we have something like $300,000 equivalent in total value locked in the portfolio. Daily trading volume can fluctuate, but it's over $5,000 typically. So there is quite some traction, indeed. And this is the way for us to showcase to the community that we hear them, and some of the best projects that we have selected are tradable now in this index, and you can invest in them sort of as one click.
Okay, nice. And with the projects then, did they have to approve to be added in, or could you just add in any projects you wanted?
No. So first, of course, we had this prioritized list of projects that community chosen, and then we have done our own due diligence. We have a bit of a pipeline that represents all the steps in due diligence, from token economics, software, team, marketing, etc., adverse media, and so forth. So we've made sure that projects are safe and sound, and then when we added them, they were all vetted. And yeah, and the actual action is truly only possible by means of voting if you have Blues tokens.
Okay, and just from NMKR side, Phil, if you give the 30-second pitch on what NMKR is and why you guys are involved here.
Yeah, most people know us as NFT minting provider on Cardano. At NMKR, we are focusing very much on getting businesses and people started in Web3. So our goal is to help projects to realize their ideas on Cardano. Right now, we're responsible for over 2 million NFTs minted on the Cardano blockchain, and yeah, with easy to use tools like NMaker Studio and a very powerful API, we help developers and just regular people as well, and artists and brands to get started with their NFT business. And yeah, for the Cardano index and Blueshift, we see a lot of potential to bring liquidity from other chains to Cardano tokens and help them to grow and gain visibility. Interoperability and collaboration between blockchains and projects from other blockchains, I think, is key to bring mass adoption to this industry.
Yeah, I know from talking to Patrick before, he really believes in cross-chain, and the future is cross-chain, which is something I definitely believe in too, that there's no one chain is going to be the one that does everything. It's just not possible. But Stephen, for yourself then, if you give the intro to VyFi and then why you guys are involved here.
Absolutely. So I'm Stephen from VyFinance. We're an upcoming DEX on Cardano, but that's a little bit of an understatement. We're a bit of a DeFi ecosystem that's being built on the blockchain. Most immediately, I would just like to say that we're going to be launching our DEX with the first non-custodial LP farming in crypto. And that's the first time that's ever been done. So we're super excited for that. Look, the reason for being here is manyfold. First of all is, as we said, interoperability between chains, which I think is really big and important. Secondly is sort of using projects that are in the ecosystem to help derive liquidity. So one of the big things within Cardano is that we lack liquidity to a large degree, right? And it is growing now, and we are seeing a large growth in the Cardano DeFi space. But being able to trade between projects' tokens is another way that we're able to drive liquidity, is we can actually draw that liquidity from each other rather than just drawing it from Cardano directly. So there's another big advantage. And then, of course, there is the one that I always love, which is arbitration. You know, you always want to give your market more and more possibilities for arbitration. So whether that be on Cardano, on any blockchain, the more places you can arbitrate and spread your token, the more price stability you can give it. So there's a lot of good reasons to be there.
Okay, and just diving more into what the index actually is, does the index have a price, or how does it work? Is the price of the index made up of all of the projects underneath it, or what way does it work if people want to get involved to get exposure to it?
Yeah, so if they want to get exposure to it, they can either stake all of the constituents of the index, or they can also provide liquidity in a one-sided way, single-sided way. So if the portfolio is not perfectly balanced, there is always an opportunity to basically balance it better. And this is what people can do by staking one specific token without the necessity to have all the rest of them. And once you've taken one, then you get exposure to all the remaining ones.
Okay, so when someone puts in, say, I hold VyFi, I put it into the index, some of the VyFi gets sold off then to buy the other tokens. Is that the way it works? So I have an equal share then?
Yeah, simply what happens is that the proportion of VyFi will become a little more, but when you will be withdrawing, or when you will be holding your LP tokens, you're effectively holding the entire set of constituents. So you hold the entire portfolio.
Okay, so is it possible then for, at some point, if a lot of people from, I'll use VyFi as Stephen is here, a lot of people from VyFi come in and put in their VyFi tokens into it, that you could have 50% of the index could be made up of VyFi, or is it ever balanced out if it hits certain?
Yeah. So one of the core features of Blueshift is being able to balance it in a smart way. So you can disbalance the portfolio to some level, so you can keep adding it to a certain level, and then when it's too much, the system will sort of start penalizing you for disbalancing it too much. And then the more you disbalance, the more you're penalized. So that at some point you'll be asked to, well, you'll be told that you're having a loss on adding too much VyFi to the portfolio. And then the way to counteract that is to make sure that you add other tokens as well. But this is only if you're adding a lot, which introduces significant impact.
Okay, is there any plan at any point for the system to balance that me as the user, I wouldn't have to add, say, 20% of copy and then another 20% of NMKR? Is there anything like we see on MinSwap where they have the zap-in feature where I want to provide liquidity for one liquidity pool, I can just put in ADA and it will automatically sell off half of it? Is there anything like that coming?
Yeah, actually, we already have in place our bot that does cross-DEX trading, and one of the features will be exactly that one, so being able to balance it proactively.
Just to add there, so when you're adding liquidity into one of the index or withdrawing it out, the price or what you put in on the interface is always matched up in USD. So the way I like to explain it is that when you're putting liquidity in, it could be any one of those tokens. And personally, you shouldn't be, I guess, married to those assets because you're buying into the index and getting the group of assets, exposure to the group. So the interface, when you put assets in, it will try and put in the ones where it doesn't have that price impact. So the index, when you have a look at it, you'll see those 4 particular tokens: Blues, NMKR, cornucopias, and VyFi, and it'll have a certain percentage of that portfolio there. And the targets there are at the moment 25% for each one of those tokens. And some of those tokens may be a little bit higher, maybe a bit lower. And when you're putting in the liquidity, it will try and work that out so that there's no price impact for you. So as Igor was saying, if you're putting in more VyFi tokens and it's over that 25% target rate, it will penalize it and try not to put those tokens in. And that's the same with withdrawing. So at the moment, I think it's VyFi and Blues tokens have a higher percentage on that particular index. So they're the ones that are more desirable to pull out because you won't have the price impact. So if I had originally put in 4 of the tokens, at the moment when I pull it out, it will recommend only pulling out 2 of those tokens because it won't have that price impact.
Okay, yeah, I suppose that's the way I'd see it, is that you're not trying to buy into individual projects. If you're getting involved in something like this, if you want to do that, you would just hold the token yourself. This is more to get a balanced exposure to Cardano, and maybe even more so for people outside of the Cardano ecosystem that they want to get exposure to different Cardano assets. Then you can buy the index as your initial way into it.
Precisely, yeah. And we've done the due diligence, community has done the work, so that's the benefit here.
Okay, and when I get the LP token, is there any farming with the token, or can I do anything with the index LP?
Yeah, there is farming with it, so you can stake it and farm like that. But you can also, what we think as future steps with that, you can also practically trade it on other platforms, right, as people do with index fund type of.
Can I also add here? You can also bridge it. You can also bridge the index token to Cardano, and you can also stake it on VyFi. So the index LP is also stakeable on VyFi. And we're very likely going to have a layer 2 LP. That's not something that we're discussing here today, so I won't go into the depths of it, but we're likely going to have a liquidity pool for the Blueshift liquidity pool index token on our site. So people on our platform will be able to match it with Cardano with its value, and then you can come to our platform and directly purchase off of the market their LP token. That's all going to be a bit of fun coming up.
Okay, I'm just trying to map that out of my head as you're talking there, and we might need to put that on a document at some point. Maybe when we catch up after, you can have a graphic for that.
We've got some new documentation coming out very soon. I'm just finalizing that. So it did take a little while for me to get my head around it myself, but yeah, it's all mapped out now, and there's docs coming very soon. Okay,
nice. So in that case, I suppose the LP, it will be tradable on VyFi or any other DEX as well, and it would have a price associated to it then, which should correlate back to whatever's in whatever is in the index made up of the different token prices.
That's exactly what it is proportionally. Yeah.
Okay. What else have I got here? So what's if a new if the community wants to add a new project into this, or if they want one project taken out of it, is this a community decision or is this a Blueshift? You said initially it was voted in by the community. How does the management of the index go?
Yeah, so we start with marketing campaigns, so with marketing team driving it. And typically that's how we create those indices on various chains. For the ones that are already in place, of course, if something happens to a specific project, we would proceed to delist it. And that would be first our management team, let's say, decision, which would be followed by voting by Blues holders.
Okay. And will there be a way for Blues holders to propose new projects to be added into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So ideally, in a perfect world, everything would be decentralized and they would have a nice interface to propose that. But right now, it's more like a Twitter and Discord type of community voting exercise that sort of continues with formal voting.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be good at hopefully in the future, to be able to have that where the community essentially can take control of the index and have it as decentralized that the community will decide on where it goes. And I think you get a lot more interest from people then if they can have power over it as well.
I'd love that. So whoever is listening to the podcast, to our video, if you guys feel like you want to be involved, feel free to reach out to us. And we are happily looking at requests and things like this, because, definitely in the perfect world, if the community would be able to manage everything end to end, or we could set up an experiment like that, I would be all for it. That would be actually the whole promise of the ecosystem managed Web3 project.
Yeah, I know it's very easy for me to say here, that's how it should be done, but the tech behind it is a lot more difficult, obviously.
Yeah, no, the participation is always, of course, killing cool initiatives like this, right? So there's always a balance between like decentralization and our own drive that we substitute for lack of participation sometimes, because not always you can expect holders of tokens to vote and get active on all kinds of initiatives.
Yeah. So the future then, you're working on cross-chain. You said you're on Milkmaid on both versions, on Cardano and on Algorand. You're also on Kava, did you say? What does the future look like there?
What looks like that?
The future of the Cardano index, can it move across all platforms, or how will it look?
Yeah, so in terms of the future of Cardano index, the cross-chain promise that we're realizing right now is directly linked to the Cardano index and other indices in our ecosystems. Of course, the idea here is to deliver cross-chain exposure to Cardano native projects and projects from other ecosystems, vice versa, so that in one click with almost no waiting and in a very secure manner, one can swap their assets from one chain to the other, right? And then you can avoid all the security issues associated with bridging or wrapping. So we don't have any of that. We have native swaps, basically. Again, quick, user-friendly, and delivers direct exposure to other ecosystems. That's the future. And as liquidity gets added, it's going to get more and more efficient.
Yeah, I'll just let this play in the background. Actually, this is the video you guys sent over of a cross-chain swap happening. So is this like atomic swaps, or how does this work? So what you said there, that it's not about, it doesn't involve a bridge. So assets aren't locked up. You don't have that exposure, that potentially the risk of a bridge getting hacked. Unfortunately, we see this a lot in crypto. But how does it work? Does there have to be a match on the other side before the trade can happen? Or do you have to have liquidity pools on both chains?
Yes, exactly. So we have liquidity pools on both chains natively, and those liquidity pools are used to give you the best price. If you're happy with the price, then your assets get swapped and you get it in your respective wallets and respective chains without the need to basically traverse the whole path. So we traverse the path for you. We use Cosmos-based orchestration layer there. And the fact that we have portfolios on both sides gives you this opportunity to seamlessly and safely swap your assets.
Okay, and this all goes through the Blueshift DEX, because you are on multiple chains.
Exactly.
Will we be able to do this directly from Cardano? So if I have one asset, can I swap that with something on Milkomeda or even directly on Algorand? Can that be done through? I know Blueshift right now is on Milkomeda and not directly on the Cardano L1.
Yeah.
So is that in the pipeline?
Absolutely. So actually, as we speak, we're working with IOHK on that. And we're going to be using a number of new technologies that IOHK has developed to do it in the most efficient way.
Okay, so I would be able to swap directly within my Cardano wallet. I could swap on another chain.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so we have two ways of doing that. We have Milkomeda's wrapped contracts feature, plus IOHK's so far, well, let's say undisclosed set of functionalities that we will be using to connect directly to Cardano native.
Okay, that's good to hear that IOHK are working on something. I've seen a bit from what DC Spark are doing, and I need to catch up with Sebastian fairly soon on that, because I'm definitely looking forward to. It's like we talk about cross-chain, and the easier you can make the UI for the end user, that is the most important point of this, is that in the long term, most people won't care what chain they're actually using. They just want a simple UI. And if the UI can go across chain and do all the swaps or let them interact with different dApps, that's the goal that I think a lot of people should be aiming for.
100%, because you cannot underestimate the complexity and this dreary process of bridging from one chain to the other. Just takes like half an hour and many clicks and is expensive. And in this case, if it's done in one click and then directly get exposure to the other chain and you can swap your native assets for something else, well, that's, I think, basically what we should be delivering in 2023 as the promise of the decentralized Web3 ecosystem.
Yeah, and like that with bridges they're good to have, but they always carry that extra risk. If you can swap directly for assets, then that's even better. But anything else then from either NMKR or VyFi or anything on what's going on here, or anything you want to add in?
Not specifically, just that, it's always exciting to have developments coming, and we're looking forward to continue working with Blueshift to help them any way that we can to bring these developments to the market. We've got a very close working relationship, and I'd just like to say thanks to their team for the work that we've done together, and I wish them all the best of luck.
Thank you. The pleasure is all ours. Always good to work with you, Steve.
Thanks, Igor. You too.
Yeah, from our side as well. We're happy to have people building stuff like that. Going cross-chain and interoperability is very important for this industry, and we need it to grow and to scale. And so we're very glad to have you doing this stuff.
Thank you very much, Phil, for the kind words. Yeah, happy to work with you.
Great. And just for people that want to get involved, what is the process? Pete, you might have tutorials already out there. If you do, I can add them into the description. But what will be the process for someone who wants to get exposure to this now?
Yeah, there are quite a few tutorials already on the Blueshift YouTube channel that I've created. So if anyone wants to get started, they're all there. Everything from setting up your wallet. At the moment, you still have to connect a MetaMask wallet, unfortunately. So for those Cardano hardcore fans out there that absolutely love their Cardano wallets and Eternal or whatever, you do have to load up MetaMask. But I got used to it. It's okay. It's not that bad. But yeah, you load up your MetaMask wallet, connect to the Milkomeda chain, or you could use Flint wallet even, bridge over those assets over to Milkomeda and then over to the Blueshift DEX. We've got a bridge interface directly on the DEX as well. And then you can just get started buying into one of the particular indexes there, whether it's one of the DeFi ones or the Metaverse one, or even just the Cardano index, which is the one that probably most people are interested in. I'd just like to add, I don't think was really stressed enough a little bit earlier in the interview about that cross-chain interoperability side of things. It's because it is all built on the Cosmos SDK. That SDK opens up Blueshift to so many different blockchains that the Cosmos SDK is already connected to. So I think it's over 87 or so different blockchains that Cosmos SDK connects to directly, and just having our underlying infrastructure to power Blueshift on the Blue chains layer 0 enables all of that to happen. So we've got the two main chains that we're connected to at the moment, the two EVM chains, C1 and A1. Carver just added in, but this opens up so many more chains, and the idea is to bring in that level of interoperability between all these different chains and give these Cardano projects the exposure that they deserve. So having this really cool tech that makes it so easy for anyone to buy into the Cardano index, I'm pretty excited about. So it really should bring in some extra liquidity and exposure to all these different chains and different people that are looking at and playing around with new DeFi out there.
Yeah, I think being a non-EVM chain for Cardano has its advantages, but in the interoperability with other chains, sometimes it can be a bit slower to bring along the opportunities like that. But it seems that what you guys are working on definitely could be one of them solutions. And just bringing back up the screen here just to show some of the other indexes that are there, and I'll put all the links down below for anyone, and I'll take a look at the Blueshift YouTube channel, maybe pull out some of the videos, put them in the description down below, as well as a link to the channel for anyone who wants to get involved. But any closing thoughts from anyone or anything we missed?
I just want to say that whoever is interested in joining, if you have a new project and you want to become a part of the index, or maybe you want to create together with us a new type of portfolio, feel free to reach out to us via Twitter or Telegram. Happy to talk to you.
Perfect. So look, actually, we probably didn't talk about Copy. Cornucopias weren't able to make it today, but most people on Cardano are going to be fairly familiar with Cornucopias. I would say one of the biggest metaverses building on Cardano right now. And Josh and Rob, I'll probably have them on the channel again fairly soon, so we can mention at that point that they are part of what's going on here. Thanks, guys, for your time. I appreciate it. Great to have a few different guests on at the same time, get different opinions and different topics up. Anyone watching, thanks for watching. If you think others can benefit, please do share this out, give the video a like, and leave a comment. It does help with the algorithm. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Paul, for having us.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much for having us.